Hi everyone. Are you a marketer, wants to analyze your customer data? Are you a working professional, wants to pick up a new skill? Or you are simply an engineering student, wants to learn programming language like Python? Welcome to the exciting world of Python. In this video, we will get introduced to Python. We will see how easy it is to actually learn a programming language. Also, you don't need any programming knowledge or experience to go through this video. This is the first of many videos coming on Python. This is a beginner breakdown, a crash course of you getting introduced to Python. So keep watching. Thanks a lot. If you feel the content of this channel is helpful, please consider hitting the subscribe button and liking this video. So here, as you can see, we are already in the Google browser and we will search for Google Colab. Forgot to mention one thing, that even if you do not have Python installed or any of such IDE, it is not required. You will be able to use Python and learn programming language just by using Google browser. How to do it? Let's learn it. So once we are in the browser, we will be searching for Google Colab, and once we hit enter, you will see a link for Welcome to Collaboratory. So we'll go to that link, and Google Colab is a platform where you are able to create your Python notebooks, where you will be able to write and execute your Python code. So we'll click on create new notebook and it will open a new notebook for us. Once it's open, we will rename the notebook to whatever, maybe let's just say Python introduction. Okay, and this is the kernel where you will be able to write your code. Now it is very easy to learn Python and execute the programming language. It is not like other programming languages where to execute simple things like printing something or doing some mathematical calculation, you need to write quite a few lines of code. So let's just see how using Python you can print some statement. Now to do this, think about your ATM machine. Whenever you are at the ATM machine, it prompts you some instructions like please enter your PIN. Now suppose this kernel here is our ATM machine window and we want to print the same thing over here. So how can you do it? Now before even going there, what is Python? So Python is basically a programming language, but before even that, what is programming language? We need to understand. A programming language is the language that you use to communicate with machines, okay, to computers. Okay, so this is a language of a mutual language that the computer and the human understand. Okay, so now we will tell this computer that you have to print a certain instruction on the screen. Using Python, we will be doing it. How can you do it? So it's really easy. You have to write a print command and you need to write the instructions within the quotations. Okay, now here we will write the quotations as enter your password. Now that's what you will usually see when you are at the ATM machine, right? And if we run it, here the play button, if we click on it, you will be able to see the results. What it will show in this small portion of the blank space, you will see the print statement that we have written. Print statement is this one, which whatever is inside your quotation, that will be getting printed. So it is saying enter your password. Now one difference between our computer system and the ATM machine right now is our ATM machines not only print some statement, but it also asks us to provide some input, isn't it? So it generally telling you enter your password and then it's waiting for you to provide some password. So how can we do it? Again, it's very easy. So let's create another kernel. When you will click on this plus sign plus code, you will be able to create a new one, a new kernel, and here now instead of using this print statement, we will use a syntax called import. Now in the import, it is exactly like print statement. It also prints some instructions in your screen, but along with that it waits for you to provide some input. Okay, that's the difference between print and input. Now we will write the instruction, same instruction, so we will just copy it from here And now what is it saying is enter your password, and then it will wait for us to provide some password for us. Now we'll run this, and now you'll see now it's saying enter your password, but it is waiting for us to provide the PIN. This is quite similar to our ATM machine, right? So here you have it. Let's provide some PIN. Maybe suppose this is my ATM password. Don't tell anyone. And okay. Once I enter, now it's printing out the value or the PIN that I have provided. Now, when it's printing within quotation, this is a data type called string. Okay, that means it consists of characters. Okay. Now, what we want to do is when it's printing it out, this is something unusual happening. I don't want somebody to see whatever password I have given. That's what happens in ATM PIN machine, right? Your password is mostly represented by stars. Now what do we want to do here? We want to, once we provide the pins, we want to print number of stars in place of the pin we have provided. Now if we want to do that, if we want to replace the characters by star, what we have to do? Now think it like this, that based on the number of characters or letters or digits we have in our pin, we have to create that many number of star and print it out, right? Now here we will be introducing you a new concept that is called variable. Variable is something where you store value. Okay, so kind of like your bucket where you can store something, or your almirah where you can keep something. So variable is like that. Now we will give a name to a variable. Okay, and variable can have any name, whatever you like. Here this variable we will say password keeper, because this variable is keeping passwords. Okay, and now we will put all the things here. So basically enter your password, and whatever we will enter now, it will get stored in password keeper. Okay, now what we want to do, once we have the password stored in password keeper, we want to see how many digits, letters or characters are there in our password keeper. So how can we do it? How can we know what is the length of it? Basically we were asking, right? So if somebody's name is Sagar Chakraborty, we want to know how many, what is the length of the name, right? How many characters are there is basically can be represented by the length of the string or integer. Here we have a comment, or we have a syntax called len. Okay, len, that we will use. So we will say length of password. Okay, length pass is another variable where we will keep the length of password keeper. Okay, now we have the length of the password keeper. Okay, then let's print it out. We will print, and in the print statement we will say that length of the password, and then this is our print statement, but what we want to print is basically this variable. So we will pass the variable after putting a comma. Okay, so it will print the length of the password because it is stored in this variable, right? So once we have it, now what we want to do? We want to create that many number of stars, okay, and print it out. So now we will see, we will create a variable called password encryptor, and here what we will do is we will take the length of password and we will multiply it by star. So what will happen? Based on the length of the password, that many number of stars will get created. Okay, and then if we now print this password encryptor, maybe we will say encrypted password, and then we will pass password encryptor, we would be able to see. Okay, so let me maybe just copy it. We will be able to see the number of stars in place of our password. So let's try it. Now it's asking enter your password. We will provide a password, and now it's saying the length of the password is 4, encrypted password is 4 star. Congratulations, we got it right. So this is one very simple introduction to Python. Okay, more importantly, you have to learn how to think programmatically. So where do we use programming? We use programming to solve logical problems, solve complex problems, or to do programming or to use programming in order to automate the repetitive tasks. Okay, first let's see how easy or difficult it is to do some basic mathematical calculation using Python. Suppose we want to do a multiplication. How to do that? 67 into 78 and just run it, and there you have it, 5226. This is so easy in Python. Doing mathematical calculations is just like you can use Python as your calculator. So now if we want to do addition, same thing. Okay, 78 plus 90 and run it, there you have it, 168. Now in the next step we will learn what are the data types we have in Python. Now what is data types? So basically there are different types of data as the name suggests, and that is what we call data types. The main data types in Python are string, integer, float, and that will do your job for now. So what are strings? So suppose whatever you write inside quotation, this is a string. Okay, so whenever you are seeing data is getting represented but within these quotations, those are string data type. What is integer? The numbers. Okay, what is float? Whenever you have some digits after the pointers. So these are, so if we want to do it, string. Okay, another new thing, if we want to do write some comments in your Python code, you can use hash and then start writing your comments. Where do we use comments? So suppose you want to write some line of code, but before that you want to tell your reader or for yourself, you want to keep a note that why you are writing a certain line of codes. Okay, so that's how people use commenting. And if you put a hash and then start writing whatever, Python will not execute the line. Instead of that, that will be there in your scripts and it will be used as a comments. So here we'll put a hash and now we'll write string. How do we represent string? Whatever inside a quotation. It can be number, it can be integer, but if it is represented by these double quotes or single quotes, and whatever within that will be a string. Now then we have integer, and these are numbers basically, we all know, and then we have float. Okay, and this is basically again some numbers, but here we have some digits after the pointer. Okay, hurrah, we got the data types. Next up we'll learn about list and dictionary. These are the two most used data type in Python. List is a bucket which keeps item in order. That means you can store items one by one and it will keep in that way. So it maintains a sequence. On the other hand, dictionary is something that does not keep items in order. You can think dictionary as the security guard in the shopping mall. When you are entering a shopping mall, the security guard keeps your item, and for that your belongings, he provides you a token. Dictionary is similar. Dictionary keeps things in pair. So you have a key and corresponding to that key you have a value. So if you want to keep this iPad in your dictionary, for this iPad there will be a key. So if any time you want to get back this iPad from the dictionary, you have to use the key in order to get it back. So we'll learn these two concepts. These are the most used data types. So let's just see how it looks. We will take a variable where we'll store the list. So let's just say the variable name is test list. Now we declare list inside this third bracket, which is a little different from the other data types we have talked about. Now inside list you can keep anything. That means it can be a string, maybe my name. It's a string, right? Consists of characters and within double quotes, or maybe a number which is 123, or it's a float. Anything and everything you can store inside a list. That is the beauty of list. Now just look closely how we are storing data inside list. That you have the item, and to separate two items we use comma. That's a separator inside a list. Now if we run it, we will see the test list will have these three values right now. Now the advantage of list is you can make changes, updates, delete items from list. There are other two data types, tuple and sets, where in tuple you cannot do any changes. Okay. Now let me print out. So let's use a print statement. We would say print our first list, and we'll print test list here, and let's see, it will print us these three values inside the third bracket. Now let's see how a dictionary looks. Okay, so we will create a variable called testdict, and testdict we will declare the dictionary using the second bracket. Okay. Now within that, what did I tell you? That anything and everything we keep inside a dictionary is always in key and value pair. So that means we have to give a key name, and now suppose the key is A, that is we are indexing using the characters, and in A what are we storing? Maybe we are storing a name, suppose Sagar. Then it will go on, the second key will be B, and the name I am going to store, suppose MSI, my laptop. Okay. Now instead of A and B, now we can give a more prominent key called name, because and then it's saying laptop. Okay. So that's how it looks, and if we run it, it will get stored in this variable called testdict. Okay. Now what's important is to understand how to access these things. Okay. Maybe you can create it, and where do we use it? There are different use cases for a list versus a dictionary. When you are going to use list versus when you are going to use dictionary, that essentially depends on the developer's choice. Sometimes using a dictionary gives you more flexibility because you have the index, you have the key value, to access any items, whereas in the list you need to search for that item in order to get one. So let's just try it out. How do you get any value from a list? Okay, to do that, to get items from either list or dictionary, we will now learn a new concept called loops. Okay, now loop is something that helps us iterating over list or dictionaries, basically data types. What do we mean when we are saying iteration? So suppose we have a bucket, and when you are finding a particular item inside the bucket, you first start looking for from each of these item, right? And then you try to match with your conditions, maybe the color of the dish, your plates you are looking for inside the bucket, or the patterns of the plate, and all these things you try to match in order to find one. But essentially what you are doing is you are going through each and every plates inside a bucket in order to find the correct one. That is called iteration. We want to create something that will go over each and every items of our list or dictionary in order to find the correct one for us. And this is a very important concept. We use it day in, day out. If you learn this concept very well, you can be able to solve most of your problem when you are at the beginner level. Okay, so let's dive deep. The first loop we will learn, and this is the most useful one, which will be for loop. And inside the for loop, we will learn if-else statements. Okay, what is that? I will explain you when we come to it. But first learn for loop. So you want to iterate over each item. So what you do is for, this is a statement, and that means the loop for loop will start here for I, or just call it index, or let's just say for list item in test list. Now if we read it through, what does it mean is for list item in test list. That means we will take each of these items. Okay, so when we are writing for, it means it will take out each item from this list, and then you can do whatever you want with the list. Now what do you want to do? We want to take out a plate, then we want to match. If this plate is satisfying the conditions, is it the plate I am looking for? Now we will be using if-else statements. That means if a condition matches, we will do something. If it doesn't matches, else we'll do something else. Okay, so these for loop and if-else statements are going to be heavily used with your data types, and you can solve any problem with this. Okay, it's very powerful. So now we are taking each item from the list, and what do we want to do? We want to search and match something. Now suppose for our case, our plate is the name Sagar, because the name is there in both our dictionary and the list. So we will be searching if the name exists or not in the list. Okay, maybe if my name exists in the list belongs to me, something like it. Now what if it doesn't exist? So if it exists, we will say true, or we will print true. If it doesn't exist, we will print false. Okay, let's do that. So we will now write another statement called if, and then we will write our condition. What we are going to say? If my name is inside the list. What is my name? Sagar. Okay, so if Sagar in, or let's just say if Sagar, so this is a particular item. So what we are going to do? We are going to match if my name is same as the list item. So we will do if list item equals is the operator which means exactly same. Okay, exact match. Okay, is list item exactly match, that means equals with my name Sagar, we are going to do what? We are going to print true. Hurrah. Else what we are going to write? We are going to print false. Now when we are printing true and false, we will not be able to understand what it is getting matched with. So we will print item value is, or just say item is, and then just print the item, which is our list item. We'll do the same thing, we'll copy it and we'll do the same thing here in dictionary as well. And let's just see if things works. Hurrah! It's saying true, the item is Sagar. Then it's saying false, item is 1, 2, 3. How would it match with 1, 2, 3? Because we are searching for Sagar. And it's saying false, the item is a float 90.9. Here we learned how to iterate over a list, and you can't imagine how important this concept would be in the future of this particular series. So let's see how can we iterate over dictionary. Now here a little difference between iterating over a list versus iterating over dictionary. We will write for dic item, but dictionary has 2 items, key and value. So we need to write dict key and dict value when we want to take out each of this item from dictionary. Each item has a key and value. That's why we are writing dict key and dict value in. Now our dictionary name is test dict. From there we are taking out each item, and the each item consists of a key and a value, so which is dict key and dict value in test dict dot items. This is a little different commands how you get out value from dictionary versus list. You don't need dot items, you don't need to write key and value because list doesn't have key value pairs. Okay, now here everything is same. Okay, you have a key, you have a value. What do you want to do? You want to check if the value is same as Sagar or not. What we will do? We will just copy this code. We will paste it here, and instead of list item, what should be variable here? Our variable is dict value, because we have storing the value of the dictionary for each item inside dict value. So now if we run it, it is saying true, the item is 90. Is it correct? No, it's not correct. How it can be correct? Okay, so let's see why it's incorrect. It's a good thing that we found we are printing list item. How can it be correct? So we have to print dict value. So when we copied the code, we forgot to change the variable which we were printing, because previously we were printing list item. Now we have to print dictionary value for each items. So if we run it now, hurrah, you got it. So it's saying true, the item is Sagar, it matched with Sagar, and false when it's matched with MSI. So there you have it, the first sessions on the beginner's crash course on Python. In this lesson, we learnt about input and print statement, basically introduction to Python, how do we do mathematical calculation using Python. Then we learnt about the data types like the string, integer, float, list and dictionary. And we also learned 2 very important concepts: how to run a for loop, how to find data from data types like list and dictionary using for loops, and a powerful concept of if-else statement. We'll stop the session here today, and I hope this video was useful to you. In the next video, we'll learn more fascinating concepts, and we will start our journey from beginner to advanced level in Python. If you are a working professional thinking of switching your career to AI and data science, please reach out to me for any personal career guidance, as well as I feel the best way of switching your career into data science is by doing some projects in your own domain as an application to data science and AI. If you feel you already have some problem statement but you do not know how to solve it, please reach out to me. For that case, as well. In the next video, we will be learning very important concept of Pythons. So if you want to get more videos like this, or if you want to follow this at beginner to advanced Python series, please consider subscribing and like this channel. Thanks a lot.